All right, so here we go with the digestive system. You should have your huge notes out in front of you. If you somehow lose these, which would be actually impossible to do, then you can print off some more from the website. All right, digestive system. You guys ready? Frozen? Oh, there we go. Still got some math on there. Nice. All right, biomolecules, what we'll first start off with here, biomolecules. All right, you guys recognize this cartoon? You know who that is? Garfield, yeah. He was kind of a big deal when I was a kid. It's been around for a long time. This section will look at how the digestive system works. In order to understand that, though, we need to understand a little bit about food. And yeah, if you know anything about Garfield, he loves all sorts of food. Food is usually thought of as three kinds of molecules and some vitamins and minerals. So three kinds of molecules we'll talk about here, vitamins and minerals. So lipids are the fats, lipids, L-I-P-I-D-S. Carbohydrates are starches, carbohydrates. So carbs, right? That's the nickname for carbohydrates. Those of you that are athletes, or if you carb up or carb load or whatever you do for your workouts or your games. When I was playing hockey, we'd always have pasta before a game. About 2 o'clock, we'd have a big pasta meal before our evening game to give us a little bit of energy. Proteins comes from meat. And we'll explore a little bit each of these more in detail as we move along. And then vitamins and minerals. So three kinds of molecules as well as vitamins and minerals. And that's pretty much everything that's in food, pretty much. Each kind of molecule is broken down into its parts to do something different for the human body. So let's talk about lipids. All right, lipids can be broken down into glycerol, fatty acids, and simple lipids. It's used for processing sugars into energy, storing energy, and forming membranes and hormones. So yeah, on a wide level, on a large level, fat is storage of energy. You're supposed to be able to use your fat storages to use as energy. Of course, if we take in too much fat and don't use it, it gets stored. And then the storage is what you see in the mirror if you get to be a little bit too large. So if you don't use up all your energy, it just gets stored for a later date. All right, carbohydrates. You guys can maybe hit the first light switch there. Can you take those off for me, please? In class, thank you. Appreciate that. Carbohydrates, broken down into sugars, again, used for making energy. Yeah, so sugars, carbohydrates, gives you energy, but also is easily stored as fat. So I don't know if you're enjoying these moving things. What's this girl's name? She's from... Agnes. That's Agnes, yeah, from Despicable Me. Despicable Me, right? Yeah. I'm not sure what this meme's all about. I'm not sure who that is. What is this? Pizza bread, cinnamon buns, potato wedges. Maybe that's a garlic bread. Oh, looks good to me. Not a big candy person. Would you guys rather have a handful of candy to eat or a handful of like greasy foods? Candy? Candy? Greasy foods like on the left there? Okay. Most of the girls did candy, with the guys did greasy. Okay. All right. All right, proteins. Okay. So proteins are broken down into amino acids. They're used for making more proteins. Most of our body's structure is protein, so proteins are used to replace the muscle that's like if you work out, you are basically shredding your muscles a little bit. And so protein adds the kind of helps build that muscle back in. That's how you get bigger. You kind of like it kind of stretches a little bit and pulls apart, and then the gaps or whatever get filled in with more protein. And then again, and then your muscles start to build that way. And making DNA as well. So proteins are used for making DNA. All right. Vitamins and minerals. That's a weird picture, vitamin A, okay. All right, broken down into, these are usually not broken down. Vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin A, D, minerals, calcium, and things like that are usually not broken down any further. They're actually used in your body. And they're used for many useful functions in and around the body.
It's broken down into usually not broken.
Usually not broken down, yeah. So for that category there, it's usually not broken down. Anatomy and physiology, all right. Long tube. The digestive system in humans is a tube. The food molecules are broken down and absorbed at different locations along this tube. So you think about food goes in, food comes out. It's really long, one long continuous sort of trail. It's quite a job for you guys to flip your pages with these accidental, monumentous, large sets of notes that I printed off for you. Yeah. Me and the photocopier are mad at each other, apparently. So. You're a donut. All right. We will look at the roles of the mouth, esophagus. That's a funny spelled word. E-S-O-P-H, esoph, A-G-U-S, esophagus. The stomach, the small intestine, the liver and gallbladder, the pancreas, and the large intestine, or intestine. So those are the main components of the digestive system. There's a few more details on the right side there, including what? The pancreas. Pancreas is in there. Salivary glands, pharynx, the anus. Those are all technically part of the digestive system as well. So in, processed, out. The teeth. The teeth break down the food into smaller pieces. So the mechanical digestion, when food first gets into your body, it goes through your mouth. And your teeth break it down to smaller pieces. This increases surface area for the food, allowing for faster digestion. So the first thing your food hits might be your tongue, but probably your teeth. First major step in this process. Did you guys get all that? Got to write down quick. Chemical breakdown starts here as well with the amylase in the saliva, breaking down the carbohydrates into sugars. So your saliva does a lot of work too. So teeth and saliva. And the amylase in your saliva is what breaks down carbohydrates right away. The pH, do you guys know what pH is?
Yeah, whether it's acid or what's another
opposite? Yeah, it's the measure of acidity, so whether it's acidic or basic. Oh, I'm going ahead too far. So pH is whether it's acidic or basic. pH over 7 is basic. pH under 7 is acidic. And you'll find out in chemistry, I guess, chemistry 30, how to figure out pH. It's related to, it's the negative logarithm of the hydrogen ion concentration. So there's a bit of math in there to find the number. But the pH is usually remain neutral is 7, so between 6.5 and 7.5 is pretty close to neutral. All right, mucus. It's a disturbing little gif there. Mucus helps hold food together and makes it slimy so that it slides through the system easier. And of course, your body produces excess mucus, like apparently it's happening to this guy, when you're not feeling well, when your body is fighting infection, when it's trying to also kind of carry things out of your body. Yes?
Is the mucus misspelled?
Nope. Nope. M-U-C-O-U-S. Mucus. That is correct. All right. It is a muscular tube at the back of the mouth that leads to the stomach. Okay. The esophagus is a muscular tube at the back of the mouth that leads you to the stomach. The tube to the lungs is the trachea. it is covered by your epiglottis when you swallow. So not pictured here, but up near in your throat there's two tubes. The windpipe is also another name for the trachea, going down into your lungs, your windpipe, where the wind goes. And then the food pipe is the esophagus. And the epiglottis is the little flap that kind of opens up your windpipe so you can breathe, and closes it when food and liquid are coming down, so that you don't inhale your food. Okay, is that making sense? Yeah.
So like sometimes when you're like drinking water and you start like coughing,
Yes.
coughing in the water, is that like a little bit of water gets into
Yeah,
your-
that's right. Yeah, the epiglottis is not quite covering the tube. It's kind of, some water or something sneaks in, and you end up kind of getting that down kind of towards your lungs, and your body just rejects that right away because there's like lungs in there. It has like liquid in your lungs. So that's when you cough, and all the extra air just kind of like pressures it, pushes it out. Yeah. So, yeah. Any kind of particles, dust or anything like makes you cough. If it's because of particles getting into your lungs, then your body has a mechanism to reject that and to cough, so that you expel kind of rather forcefully the liquid or something that gets caught. If you get food caught in your windpipe or in your trachea, or going down to your lungs, that's when you're choking, right? If it's completely blocked. And so you might need an extra push in your lungs to get all the air squeezed out. Just like if you have something stuck in the top of a pop bottle or something, and you squeeze it hard, and then it pops it out. That's what you're doing when you're getting yourself unchoked. All right, esophagus, peristalsis. Let's talk about peristalsis, is the word here. Rhythmic contractions called peristalsis pushes food down to the stomach. So as food is in your esophagus, your muscles involuntarily contract around it, pushing it in this direction. So it basically just kind of squeezes it down. Squeezes it down. It's just like squeeze, like that, Squeezes your food down. So that mechanism is called peristalsis. Your stomach, okay, empty, it has about 250 milliliters in volume. I think that's 1 cup for all you cookers out there, bakers out there. Is that 1 cup? About 1 cup in volume. When it's full, it's 2 liters big. It can carry a lot of food, so it does expand your stomach. So when it's empty, it's small. When it's full, like when you have to pop your belt open or you feel uncomfortable, your stomach is full. Hey guys? Your stomach is full, so it does expand. It expands when you have food in there, and then kind of contracts down when you don't. So when you eat a big meal and you feel like uncomfortable, it's because your stomach is like what, 4 times as big as it normally is.
No, actually 8 times.
Yeah, 2, 4, 8 times. Yes, you're right. It's 8 times big as it is at its smallest. Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it's big. So yeah. All right. So mechanical breakdown. Continues with mechanical breakdown. Churning of the stomach breaks down large pieces. So in your stomach, there's obviously some very acidic chemicals in there, which we'll talk about. But there is a mechanical breakdown as it churns, and it kind of massages your food a little bit too, mashes it up a little bit. So your stomach does continue the mechanical breakdown that started in your mouth, and even through your esophagus as it kind of like squishes it into smaller pieces. All right, let's talk about the chemical breakdown in the stomach. So the stomach continues the chemical breakdown of food through the secretion of pepsinogen, hydrochloric acid, which is HCl, it's the chemical formula, and mucus. Pepsinogen is activated by HCl to become pepsin, a protease that digests proteins. So pepsinogen it mixes with, is activated by HCl to produce pepsin that digests proteins. They're a little harder to digest.
Yeah.
The pH in your stomach is very low. That means it's very acidic, about 2.0. So it's one of the most acidic things. Oh wow. It's one of the most acidic things that we can refer to in nature. There's a lot of things that you can create that are 0 is as much as you can get, so it's like the limit is 0. You can't go negative. It's
usually,
the pH scale is between 0 and 14.
yeah.
Anything near 0 would be the most acidic. Anything near 14 would be the least acidic, or the most basic. Yep.
Is that an I, HCI, or HCl?
That's a HCl. That's a little L. Yep. It's hydrogen and chlorine chemically bonded. So the chlorine Cl up there, number 30. Somebody colored that in.
17.
Um,
Chlorine is 17.
Number 17.
yeah, it's chlorine 17.
Hydrogen is
It's got a
one.
mass of 30, 35.
It's 37.
Those are fading really bad, those red ones. Okay. Yeah, so hydrogen and chlorine, that's HCl, little l. Stores and gradually releases foods in the stomach. It's now called chyme into the small intestine at a digestible rate. So it releases food out of your stomach into your small intestine. Not all at once, it kind of just pushes it through slowly. Takes a little bit of time for you to digest all your food. This is the first short segment of the small intestine, the duodenum. The first short segment is the duodenum. It's the first segment of the small intestine. So far, the food molecules only have the carbohydrates and the proteins partially broken down. So when it gets to this point, it's only a partial breakdown of carbohydrates and proteins. Lipid digestion has not started yet. So that's the digestion of the fat stuff hasn't started yet. It receives secretions, or kind of injections of liquids, from 2 other organs to help with its digestion: the pancreas, the liver, and the gallbladder. From 2 other organs?
Yeah, because
Pancreas,
liver and
liver.
the gallbladder came up with the same
Yeah.
stuff. Same secretions.
Pancreas, liver, gallbladder. So stomach, duodenum. I'm not really sure how to pronounce these properly. The jejunum and the ileum. Different parts of the small intestine there. So maybe we'll get to those in a second. Okay, so that's it on the small intestine there. Yeah, just have to know the duodenum. That's the first part there. All right. Okay, the pancreas has 2 functions: regulating blood sugar levels and producing pancreatic juices or liquids. We will focus on the pancreatic juices that are added to the duodenum.
Mark is the one that creates the stuff to prevent diabetes.
The pancreas neutralizes acidic chyme. So remember, that's the food when it comes out of the stomach. Neutralizes acidic chyme so that the enzymes in it can work. The pH becomes 7 to 8.5. So it becomes a little bit more basic, not as acidic. So the pancreas neutralizes acidic chyme. If it's too acidic, then the enzymes won't be able to work. It also adds enzymes. Pancreatic amylase breaks down the carbohydrates. Okay, the lipases attack lipids. Lipases. And several proteases break down proteins and peptides. So these are enzymes, and without enzymes, our body's in real big trouble. So these little things do have specific jobs to break down specific kinds of things. You can see it's a delicate system. If just one of these parts aren't working right, I mean, you have gastric issues. Your body doesn't sort of get everything it's supposed to get out of the food. And anyways, yeah, these enzymes are pretty important. There's a ton of them. Okay, so the pancreas, basically it neutralizes the acidic chyme coming out. So the liver and the gallbladder kind of connected, treated kind of as one. Liver produces bile, which is stored in the gallbladder. So the liver is really the organ, the gallbladder is just kind of the storage container, more or less. This is added to the small intestine through a tube called the bile duct. in the duodenum, the bile duct. So there are other functions of some of these organs too, but as it pertains to this system, yeah, the main for the liver produces bile, also added to the small intestine to help with digestion. All right, what is bile? Bile contains bile salts, water, other salts, and cholesterol. So bile salts, other salts, and cholesterol. It does not digest the fats, but breaks them into smaller droplets or emulsifies them. So it doesn't digest them, just breaks them down into smaller droplets so they can be digested. So when this is overlaid a little bit here, you can see your esophagus, your stomach, the liver is sort of in that area as well. And the gallbladder is just sort of tucked underneath the liver there, and the bile duct kind of goes into the duodenum here. And here's the pancreas and the pancreatic duct as well. Okay, so it also, here's the other function, detoxifies blood. The liver also detoxifies, gets rid of toxins in the blood that comes to it from the digestive system. So this is important as it keeps these toxins from circulating to the rest of the body. I guess the most common, liver problems, you hear of alcoholics or people that drink a lot of alcohol. The liver is trying to filter all of that out so it doesn't poison the body. Alcohol, the body treats alcohol as a poison, so it tries to get rid of it before it goes to your brain, especially because it makes you loopy, and other parts of your sensory organs. So you kind of hear about liver problems in alcoholics and things like that. But yeah, it detoxifies the blood. So alcohol gets into your blood and affects your brain and your balance and things like that. It literally adjusts the concentration. As I was saying, the alcohol affects concentration of fluids inside your inner ear as well. So when people that are drunk can't walk a straight line when they do a sobriety test kind of thing, it's because in the inner ear, remember those canals we talked about, the semicircular canals that help maintain your balance? The fluid inside there, basically, it gets too thick, and so the bubble doesn't kind of bubble up as quick as it should. So you can't really tell, when you're straight up and down, and it's kind of a slow reacting. So you kind of get like this, like your body's like, oh wait, am I straight up and down? I don't know. Give me a second here. I'll see if I can tell. So partly, again, not a doctor, but that's alcohol affects the concentration of different fluids in your inner ear, and so that's also what contributes to sort of being tipsy, right? Not being able to walk straight, and that's one of the ways that policemen decide whether they're going to pursue, whether you're sober or not. When they stop you, sometimes they get you to walk on a curb or walk in a straight line or something, and one foot in front of the other. It's really hard to do if you're not sober. So the liver, back to the liver, trying to detoxify your blood. That's another big thing. All right, small intestine, the lining of the small intestine, the enzymes of the lining are embedded in the cell walls, meaning that they are only exposed to the chyme as it is being absorbed through the cell membranes. I'll read that again. The enzymes of the lining are embedded in the cell walls, meaning that they are only exposed to the chyme as it is being absorbed through the cell membranes. So enzymes are kind of embedded in the lining of the intestine. So as the chyme comes through, then it's kind of absorbed through the lining there and hits the food kind of thing.
Mr. Maxwell,
Hello.
what is a chyme?
Any other questions? Have you guys heard this stuff before? Or is this all kind of brand new? You've heard some of it before? Spence? Science 10, did you guys do this in Science 10 at all?
No, we didn't.
Okay. All right. Also in the lining, the walls are shaped like thousands of little fingers or villi with tinier fingers on them, microvilli, villi. This massively increases the surface area for absorption. So pretty cool inside your intestines as well. Yeah, it basically, if you set something on the back of your hand, okay, then there's only so much surface area that actually touches your skin. But if you set the same thing embedded in your fingers, there's all this surface area all the way around that can touch. So pretty cool that we get everything we can out of the food, all the nutrients and everything like that, because of all this extra surface area in our intestine. Pretty neat design. All right, now this is just a diagram. I don't think you have these in your notes, but you can just take a moment to look at this. It's a little bit more obviously than you need to understand and remember. But here's some sort of microscopic pictures of the villi. There's muscle layers, and here's kind of how it fits in. There's a lot of folds with little microvilli in there. All right. All right, most nutrients, vitamins and minerals are absorbed into villus capillaries. Okay, so the villi, the capillaries in the villi, villus capillaries. But glycerol and fats are absorbed through lymphatic capillaries. So most nutrients, vitamins, and minerals are absorbed into the villus capillaries, but the fats and glycerol are absorbed through lymphatic capillaries. We talked a little bit about the lymph system too before, right? First food. Okay. All right, let's move to the large intestine. So the small intestine is sort of in the middle of the body here. The large intestine is sort of the last stage, and it's sort of coiled around the outside here. Since almost all nutrient absorption happens in the small intestine, the large intestine does not absorb nutrients. It is responsible for water reabsorption and the formation of semi-solid feces, which is composed of indigestible wastes, bacteria, and leftover nutrients. So small intestine, your body takes whatever it can by chemical and physical means to use in the body. And when it's done, it sends everything that it doesn't use through to the large intestine. Water reabsorption, so it's quite watery, right? Like all of your food, all this chyme stuff that travels through is quite liquidy, so it can move and dissolve and all that sort of stuff. And then the water reabsorption, so I believe what that's saying is that it solidifies. So the water is now getting kind of passed out of this material, and so it's becoming more solid, right? And obviously the solid is what you get rid of. So it becomes semi-solid feces, which is composed of indigestible waste, bacteria, and leftover nutrients. Okay. Now the colon is sort of the last part of the large intestine there. You see that on the diagram. And there are lymph nodes all over the large intestine as well. Okay. The wastes present in the large intestine feed a large population of bacteria that synthesize vitamin B12, thiamine, riboflavin, vitamin K. The large intestine then absorbs these as well as water. So the waste so feeds bacteria that create or synthesize vitamins and trace chemicals that your body needs as well. And these are the things, like they're very small amounts, but these are the things that are in multivitamins. You know, when you take a multivitamin, it's like vitamin C, vitamin B, B12, thiamine, riboflavin, vitamin K. These ones are in your little multivitamins. So that in case you're not eating quite right, or in case, other things are happening that's in your digestive system that are not quite optimum levels, you get a little boost there. Okay? So depending on, it looks like the large intestine absorbs these as well as the necessary water it needs to kind of get rid of things there now. So I guess when in the small intestine, when it pulls it out, it is pretty, it's, I don't know if it's watery or dry, but it's, your body kind of makes it what it needs to be to get out. So, all right. Okay, so that's the anatomy and physiology. Now we're into digestive disorders. Okay. And we will pick this up in video 2, digestive disorders, for the last half of the notes.
Are we going to receive
See you
the
later.
second half course of nervous system?